So good morning all. In today's session, we are going to start with the unit number 5. The title of the unit is Data Integration and Data Processing. So this topic is focusing on how you have to integrate the data from different sources and how you have to process the data. So what care you need to take while gathering the data, and what are the important points or insights you need to understand while integrating the data. So this unit number 5 is focusing on integration and processing of the data. So first we are going to understand the business intelligence process that we are familiar with. Then we are going to understand what is data integration, what does it mean, and then we are going to understand what are the challenges in data integration. Then different technologies in data integration, and then very important point, that is ETL, nothing but extract, transform and load the data. That process we are going to learn in detail in today's session. Then we are going to learn about the various stages in ETL. At the end, we are going to learn about need for data integration and advantages of using data integration. So these are the points we are going to learn in today's session, and at the end, if you have any query, we will have a question answer session. So let's begin with the BI process. This is the business intelligence process that we are familiar with. So this process is divided into 3 parts. First one is data integration, next is data analysis, and so in the intelligence process, collect this data from different sources, that is called as data integration. And once you collect the data, you need to go through the ETL process, that is called as extract, transform, load and reference. This process you need to follow to get the good quality data. So first step is data integration. In this data integration, we are collecting data from different sources. Our data could be semi-structured data, structured data, or unstructured data, and all this data is present in different sites. There are different operational database systems wherein this data is present, and what you need to do in this data integration step is to collect this data from different sources and keep it in one source, that is data warehouse. Before storing the data into the data warehouse, whatever you collect data from different sources having different types of data, you need to keep the data in a single format. Before that, you need to extract the data, transform the data, and load the data from the different sources. We're going to learn this process in detail in today's session. How to extract, how to transform, and how to load the data, and what is the importance of each step and what task is carried out in each step, that we are going to learn in today's session. So once you do this, next step, you need to keep this data into the data warehouse. This is our data warehouse, and in this data warehouse, again the data gets split into different data marts, and this data warehouse is used by data analysis. This data warehouse is used by the data analysis. This data warehouse server tier 1, you can say the data is present in the data warehouse. And this data warehouse is used by the OLAP servers. That is tier 2. We are familiar with the OLAP system, for example, multidimensional OLAP system, relational OLAP system. This data gets converted into different OLAP types to serve the users. So at the end, there is reporting stage. In this stage, the clients are interacting with this OLAP servers, and clients will use different analytical tools to query over the data and get the meaningful data from this OLAP server along with the data warehouse. So the client will do the analysis of the data. The client will query the reporting, and client will do the data mining on the OLAP servers. So this is how the business intelligence process works. That you are now a bit familiar with this process, and very important thing is you need to have a large amount of data. So again, I am repeating this. First of all, you need to integrate the data from different sources, keep it into one source, that is data warehouse. It will uses the OLAP servers, different types of OLAP, multidimensional OLAP, relational OLAP, and the user, that is nothing but the clients, are querying over these OLAP types to do the analysis, to do the reporting, and to do the data mining. And with the help of this analysis, reporting, and data mining, you are now familiar. These reports will help to the manager to do the good decision, the decision based on the facts. So this is the basic business intelligence process, and here it is, data integration plays very important role. And in unit number 5, we are going to learn in depth the data integration. So moving ahead, what is data integration? Now we are familiar with the term data, and what is integration? Nothing but the collection of different entities. And what is this data integration is? Data integration is nothing but collecting the data from different sources. The process of coherent merging of data from various data sources and presenting a cohesive consolidated view to the user. So data from different sources will get merged into single data source, and that is viewed as a single user. This data integration involves combining data residing in different sources and providing users with a unified view of the data. So keep in mind this data integration, combining data which is residing at different sources and providing users with the unified view of the data. The user will look at the data as it is present on a single site, but it is present at different sites and collected at one site. Significant in a variety of situations. For example, two similar companies trying to merge their database. Okay, it is called as data integration. Take another example in scientific. For example, combining research results from different bioinformatic research repositories, wherein you need to do the data integration. So this is how you need to do the data integration before applying the business intelligence techniques on the data. So just according to understanding, what are the problems faced in data integration? Can you imagine what could be the problems or limitations faced while you do the data integration? Let's see some of the problems faced in data integration. So these are the challenges in data integration. I'm going to list it one by one, and by looking at the name, you can easily understand the challenges. So challenges are get divided into three parts. First is development challenges. Translation of relational database to object-oriented applications. Suppose in one site, data is present in relational database and you need to object-oriented databases. So there is issue with the translation of relational database to object-oriented databases. So this is the one of the challenge when you will face when you do the data integration. At the time of development, data is present in one site in relational database, whereas you are going to store that data into object-oriented. So you need to convert this relational database into the object-oriented databases, wherein there will be some mismatch between the data, because where your data is present in relational database and you need to store it into object-oriented databases. Next is consistent and inconsistent metadata. So whatever data present in different sites will be consistent or it could be inconsistent. If it is inconsistent, then there will be a problem to collect this data in a single site. Handling the redundant and missing data. So this will be one development challenge with respect to data integration. If your data is redundant and if suppose some data is missing, then there will be a problem how to merge the data into a single site. Next is normalization of data from different sources. Normalization of data from different sources. On different sources, data is present in different formats and you need to collect it into a single format. There will be a problem with the normalization. So these are some of the development challenges in data integration. Next is technological challenges. First is various formats of data. As we have seen, the different types of the data: structured data, unstructured data, semi-structured data. So this kind of data will be present in the business intelligence process, and you need to collect this data from different sites to a single site. Then there is challenge of data having in different formats. And while merging this data from different sources, you need to take care about this formats of the data. Next is structured and unstructured data. So we have seen the structured data as well as unstructured data. So there will be a challenge, technological challenge, how to merge these two different types of data into a single site. Next is huge volume of data. So in the business intelligence, the data produced by the different organization at different sites will be in huge amount, and you need to collect this data into a single site. Next is the organizational challenges. Availability of data. Sometimes you are collecting the data, but that data is unavailable to you because of the some rules and regulations of the organization. Manual integration will have risk and failure in the databases. So these are the different challenges while you do the data integration. Challenges are divided into three parts. First one is development challenges, technological challenges, and organizational challenges. In development, you need to understand the consistent and inconsistent metadata, translation of data formats from one to another, handling redundant and missing data, and organization of the data. Whereas in technological challenges, you need to consider about the various formats of the data, structured and unstructured data, and huge volume of the data. Whereas in organization challenges, sometimes data is unavailable to you, and manual integration will have risk and failure in the data. So these are the challenges of data integration. Now you can understand how important and how difficult to do the data integration. So now we are going to learn about what are the technologies is used in data integration. So integration into two main approaches. First one is schema integration. You are familiar with the schema. So this schema is used to do the integration of the data. What it will do in schema integration is reconciles schema elements. So while reconciling schema elements, it will get integrated into a single schema, and this technique is called as schema integration. Second technique is called as instance integration. So in this instance integration, it matches the tuple and attribute values and combine the matching tuples and attribute values in a single instance. That's why it is called as instance integration. So technologies that are used for data integration include data interchange. So data is present in different formats and to the interchange of the data. Next is object brokering. So you are having the data in object-oriented databases, and you need to do the object brokering, means collection of different object data from different sites into single set. It is called as object brokering. Next, you need to understand the modeling techniques. So modeling is used, ER modeling and dimensional modeling. That we have already learned how to do the ER modeling and how to do the dimensional modeling. Now, continuing with this, we are going to learn about the extract, transform, and load the process. Loading the process. That is called as ETL. This is called as ETL. What is ETL? Extract, transform, and load in database usage, and especially in data warehousing. It involves extracting data from different sources. Extracting data from different sources. Transforming it to fit operational needs, which can include quality levels. Loading it into the end target. Loading it into the end target, that is database or data warehouse. So So these are the three steps involved in the ETL. Again, I am repeating. What is ETL? It extracts data from different sources, it transforms it to fit operational needs, and it will load it into the end target. That is nothing but the database or data warehouse. So this is called as ETL process. ETL process allows to create efficient and consistent databases. Once you have this efficient and consistent database, this will be one additional important point in the business intelligence. So that's why ETL process is used. While ETL can be referred in the context of data warehouse, the term ETL is in fact referred as a process that loads any database. Usually, ETL implementation stores an audit trail on positive and negative process runs. Now we are going to learn about the various stages in ETL. So let's see. First, your ETL process is initiated, that is called as cycle initiation. Once you start the process, next is build reference data. You need to decide from where you are going to collecting the data. You are collecting the data from different sites. Once you build the reference data, next step is extract. Nothing but you need to extract the data. That is nothing but the actual data presents in the different sites. Next is validate. Before validate, try to understand this. Whatever you do in build a reference data and extracting actual data, it is nothing but we are doing the data mapping over here. Data mapping means you are from where you are going to load the data in the, that is called as data mapping. Once you do, next step is to validate the sources. Once you validate, you need to apply the transform process. That is nothing but the clear the data, you can apply the business rule on it. What does it transform means? You need to clear the data and you can apply the business rules. Whatever business rules you will have, you need to apply to the data. That is called as transform. Business rules nothing but what kind of data you require, in which format, and how you have collected this data from different sources. That is nothing but the transform. Then next is stage. Load the data into the staging tables. Once you apply this transform concept, you need to apply the staging. That is nothing but the load into staging tables. And this is nothing but these steps are called as data staging. These steps are called as data staging. Once you do this, next step is the audit reports. Nothing but success and failure log. While you are doing the stage, that is loading into the staging tables, you need to keep the record of what are the successful entries and what are the failure entries. You need to keep the log of both the things. It is called as audit reports. Then publish the data. That is nothing but to load the data into the target tables. Load the data into the target tables. And then you have archive for whatever data you have collected into a single entity. And then as and when need, you can do the cleanup process. So this is how your data is collected, transformed, and extracted in the ETL process. Next important thing is you need to, that is nothing but the data mapping. The process of creating data elements, mapping between the two distinct data models. You are having the different sites, and from the different sites you are collecting the data. Before that you need to map the data from two distinct data models. It is used as the first step towards a wide variety of data integration tasks. Before doing the data integration, you need to do the data mapping. The various methods of data mapping are hand-coded graphical mapping. This is the one type of method wherein graphical tools that allow a user to draw lines from field in one set of data to fields in another. So this is how you can do the hand-coded or graphical manual. Next is data-driven mapping. Evaluating actual data values in two data sources using heuristic and statistics to automatically discover complex mappings. So it is called as data-driven mapping. With the help of heuristics and statistics, it automatically discovers the complex mappings between the two data sources. Next is semantic mapping. A metadata registry can be consulted to look up data elements synonyms. If the destination column doesn't match the source column, the mappings will be made if these data elements are listed as synonyms in the metadata registry. So this is how data mapping takes place: hand-coded, data-driven, and semantic mapping. Next is data staging. So what happens in data staging is, a data staging area is an intermediate storage area between the source of information and the data warehouse or data mart. A staging area can be used for any of the following purposes. Again, I am repeating. Data staging area is an intermediate storage between the source of information and the data warehouse or data mart. It is an intermediate area wherein before loading the data into data warehouse, data is used. Gather data from different sources at different times. So the staging area can be used for following purposes. First is gather data from different sources at different times. So before loading this data into data warehouse, you need to keep this data into some area that is called as data staging area. Load information from the operational database. So whatever you loaded the information from operational database, it is stored in the staging area. Find the changes against current data warehouse data mart values. So changes first of all kept in data staging area, and then it is reflected to the data warehouse or data mart. Data cleansing. While doing the data cleansing, the data is kept first of all loaded into data staging area. It is cleansed, and then again it is reloaded to data warehouse and data mart. So this is about the data staging. Pre-calculated aggregates you can do in the staging area. And this is the various stages in the ETL. This is the graphical representation. So first of all, you need to do the data mapping. You have to find out the different references, and then you have to perform extract, transform, and load. This is called the data staging. You need to extract the data from different sources. You need to validate. Before transforming, you need to keep this data into stage. That is called as data staging. And then you have to perform the audit reports, success logs and failure logs, and then this staged data gets loaded into the data warehouse or data mart, and then it is kept in as a archive. So these are the different stages in the ETL process. Next is data extraction. Extraction is the operation of extracting data from source system for further use in data warehouse environment. As the name suggests, it will extract the data from the data source. This is the first step in the ETL process. Designing this process means making decisions about the following main aspects. Which extraction method would I choose? And how do I provide the extracted data for further processing? So these are the questions will be answered while extracting the data. The data has to be extracted both logically and physically. The logical methods are full extraction and incremental extraction, whereas physical extraction methods are online extraction and offline extraction. Next is data transformation. It is the most complex and in terms of production, the most costly part of the ETL process. Keep in mind. Data transformation. It is most complex as well as it is most costly in terms of production of the data. They can change from simple data conversion to extreme data scrubbing techniques. This transformation means nothing but converting one type of data into another type of data. And it can range from simple data conversion to extreme data scrubbing techniques. From the architectural perspective, transformations can be performed in two ways. First is multi-stage data transformation, and next is pipeline data transformation. Let's understand each one of these. First is multi-stage transformation. What will happen in this multi-stage transformation is, first these are the different data is extracted from different sources. It gets loading into the staging table. Just we have seen the staging, it gets loaded into the staging table. This is the staging table 1, and then you need to validate the customer keys, nothing but what are the important columns or what are the important data present in the table. Again, this data is added into the stage 2 table, and then convert the source key to warehouse source keys. Nothing but the data present in the source key, data present in the source data will get mapped or converted to the data required in the data warehouse. So in this stage, the conversion took place, and then that converted data is stored in stage 3 table, again inserted into the warehouse tables, and then this data will get inserted into the target table. And this is called as multi-stage transformation. This is called as multi-stage transformation. Next, pipeline transformation. So data is from different sources get extracted and external tables are used to keep it. Then validate the customer keys as per the requirements. Just validate the data. Next step is convert source keys to the warehouse keys. Here it is, you are converting the source data type to the warehouse data type. Conversion took place in this stage. Once you do the conversion, next is insert this data into the warehouse table. And this warehouse table at the end will get inserted into the target table.